Right now, generative AI models are drafting legal briefs, writing software, and generating video. This rapid expansion in capability kicks off a 20-year chain reaction that mathematically breaks the engine of consumer capitalism. Between 2025 and 2028, large tech platforms inject massive artificial intelligence infrastructure directly into the global economy. Companies output significantly more work while aggressively shrinking their need for human labor in software, customer service, and marketing. We can track this physical build-out. Companies like NVIDIA are manufacturing the Advanced Graphics Processing Units, or GPUs, specialized hardware chips that serve as the physical brain tissue for this automated economy. By 2028, autonomous systems begin running complex, multi-step workflows entirely on their own. Supply chains are managed, investment portfolios are balanced, and massive software updates are deployed by artificial intelligence with zero human oversight. Curious, analytical. This chart shows the structural footprint of a traditional enterprise compared to an AI-run company. A legacy business requires thousands of human employees to function. A fully automated competitor executing the exact same volume of work operates with a few dozen. Corporate output and profit margins climb vertically. Meanwhile, the total volume of white-collar labor required to generate those profits permanently shrinks. Moving into the early 2030s, the contraction in office employment leads directly into a heavy industrial wipeout as physical automation catches up to digital software. Advanced robotics reach large-scale deployment. Heavy robotic arms and autonomous machinery replace human assembly lines and warehouse logistics teams, running continuously without requiring wages or breaks. These systems quickly expand beyond the factory floor. Autonomous trucks and robotaxis integrate into live city traffic, displacing millions of commercial driving and delivery roles. This dynamic exposes a fatal flaw in the market. A capitalist economy relies on a circular flow. Businesses pay workers, and workers use those wages to buy what the businesses produce. If consumers do not have money to spend, the entire system stalls. This graph illustrates the mathematical breaking point known as the demand crisis. Highly efficient, automated companies create a skyrocketing surplus of goods. But as the displaced workforce loses its income, consumer purchasing power plummets, opening up a massive, unsustainable gap in the middle. By removing the human worker to save on costs, mass automation accidentally removes the human consumer. Left unchecked, artificial intelligence destroys the demand required to keep the global economy running. To understand how society reacts, we have to follow the orders of effect. Technological shifts force economic changes, and those economic changes inevitably trigger extreme political responses. In the 2030s, human labor drops to a fraction of its historical value. The generation of wealth transfers almost entirely to the capital-driven side of production, the AI algorithms, the data centers, and the robotics. Governments are forced to intervene, not out of humanitarian charity, but because they absolutely must maintain basic market demand to prevent total systemic collapse. This pressure forces the implementation of universal basic income, a fixed, recurring cash payment provided to all citizens regardless of employment, along with public dividends tied directly to AI productivity. To fund these distributions, nations establish sovereign wealth funds. These are massive, state-managed investment pools replenished by aggressive automation taxes levied directly against the tech monopolies. The state essentially transforms into a giant life support machine for the free market. It taxes the automated producers and routes that money directly to citizens, purely so those citizens can buy what the machines are making. By 2040, we enter what economists call the access society. Relying on a fixed government-provided income changes the physical nature of consumption. Purchasing large physical assets outright becomes mathematically impossible for the average citizen. The concept of permanent ownership gives way to a model of subscription-based living. Citizens no longer buy cars or homes. Instead, they subscribe to massive automated fleets for their transportation, paying recurring monthly fees. These fees grant them access to automated housing and AI healthcare platforms. This flowchart outlines the new society. AI corporations produce all goods, funneling heavy taxes to the government. The government redistributes this basic income to citizens, who instantly route it back as subscription fees, completing a perfectly closed loop. For the average citizen, the concept of personal property is dead. Daily life is a continuously rented experience. Past 2045, human labor becomes strictly optional across almost all sectors of digital and physical production. Despite the elimination of the worker and the rollout of basic income, the underlying system remains capitalist. The massive robotic infrastructure and server farms producing the world's wealth are still strictly and privately owned. The dividing line in society is no longer determined by talent, work ethic, or career trajectory. The future fractures into exactly two classes. On one side are billions of people who receive subsidized, rented access to the automated economy. On the other side are the extremely few who hold actual equity in the capital that runs it. The AI endgame successfully solves the global crisis of production. But in doing so, it locks the vast majority of humanity into a permanent state of endless, landless consumption.